I got sick yesterday at work because I think I was exposed too much to the hot sun. It's been over 100, like 101 or 102. And it's and the air quality's kind of crap right now because there's some fires in Josephine County, I think it is, or Douglas. And the smoke is in the Rogue Valley. But I just about collapsed yesterday. So I went home. And today I'm still recovering, probably from dehydration and crap. So anyway, I haven't posted on here a few days because I haven't really thought about stuff. But the big story here the last couple of days was the defeat of Sarah Palin for that at-large, is what they call it, House seat, U.S. House seat in Alaska, because their longtime representative, Don Young, passed away after 50 years, about 50 years in that job. And of course he inherited that job when, I don't say he inherited it, that's not true, but he was elected to that after, I think, Nick Begich Sr. was killed in that plane crash with Hale Boggs in 1972, something like that. And of course, I'm fuzzy on the memory because I'm not going to look it up. But anyway, they never found, I don't think they ever found the bodies there. I could look it up. Maybe they did. But anyway, that was a long time ago. So Don Young was in there for years and years. And then he died. And then, so Sarah Palin was considered, because of her name recognition and the fact she'd been a governor in the state of Alaska, that she was favored to win that seat. And Alaska is one of the reddest states in the country, just like Kansas, remember? But in this special election, another person the Democrat was elected, and let's see, Mary Peltola. And she was a former state lawmaker. And so she is replacing that seat, or replacing Don Young. But she has to run for that seat again in November. So hopefully she gets to be elected. So that would be something if a Democrat got in there. But that's a bad sign for the GOP, don't you think? They haven't been able to do shit right. And I think we can largely, we can say two people are responsible for their dire outlook. They might still be able to take the House, but it's looking increasingly unlikely. But we can credit it to, of course, Trump, who's trying like hell to stay out of Florence ADX or Terre Haute prison, or Sam Alito over that Dobbs decision. Of course, Sarah Palin, in her case, she upped and quit in the middle of being governor of Alaska. And you know, that's making you a quitter. And that probably had a lot to do with it. I mean, a lot of comments have been about her, you know, that she's in over her head and stuff. And of course, some of that you could say is sexist because, you know, because she didn't look like something the cats dragged in. And all that, and it worked against her. That way. Because if you look halfway photogenic, then you must not be smart. Of course, she is in over her head. I grant you that. And I've seen her in person a couple of times. So, anyway, that was back in 2008 when she was on the ticket with John McCain. So, anyway, that's what's going on there. So, anyway, they also think these idiot AGs, Republican AGs, and I'm not going to point to the article, in various red states are going to sue the Biden administration over the student loan forgiveness. You tell me how this is all election year posturing, because they have no standing. There's no, since it's a federal thing, the states have no say about it. It's not like the Title IX thing, which was different, completely different, because that was a series of mandates for the states to do this in order to get the federal funding. But that's not at work here. So they could just yammer all they want. Oh, they're going to sue and try to prevent the student loan shit. They don't have any standing. The Biden administration was pretty damn solid in their reasoning when they put in the loan forgiveness plus the changes in the income-based or income-driven repayment, income-based plan. So that's going to benefit millions. So there's that. And I know I'm kind of rambly. And you know, there's a lot of damn speculative stuff running around. There was some dude writing for Slate, and he's an attorney, so-called, and his name is Mark Stein, I think, or something like that. And he thought that, well, it doesn't matter if they have standing or not. Anybody, the Supreme Court's going to get rid of it, get rid of the student loans, just because they can. You know, it's bullshit. This is speculative fiction, folks. This is speculative fiction. That's not anything having to do with reality. And even The Atlantic, in a different story, was speculating about what would happen if Trump got elected again. What would happen to the country? So this author was speculating the things that will happen in the United States should he get in there another term. And I mean, it's scary as shit. But again, it's speculation. That both of these articles are speculation. And I think Trump is probably history. And I'm not sure the Republicans really have anybody to run. Yes, DeSantis is probably the only one. But it's going to be interesting if DeSantis gets another term in Florida. Because Charlie Crist was governor of Florida, and he's putting on a very good run. And he was elected as a Republican, but he's a known quantity there. And he's got a good shot of dislodging the fascist DeSantis. So it'll be a real interesting election. It's going to be very interesting. I do think the Dems will, I think a very great, almost a certainty they're going to keep the Senate, may even increase seats in the Senate. And I think they'll probably hold the House too. Because the Republican candidate quality is so bad. Even gerrymandering isn't going to help in a lot of cases. And so this thing with Palin is a pretty big deal. And then, I want to go kind of backtrack a little bit about Nevada and Catherine Cortez Masto, who held a number of state offices, and thanks to big help from the late Harry Reid and his machine, quote unquote, she got elected to the U.S. Senate. And her opponent, and yet they said she's vulnerable for some reason. I haven't figured that out. But her opponent is Adam Laxalt. And Adam Laxalt is trading on his last name. And he made several bids for office, and then he was elected, what was he elected? Attorney General in that state? I think he was. After I left, of course. But he was getting all this ambition to trade on his last name. And then it came out that he was a product of a one-night stand. It sounds like it was a one-night stand between his mother and who was the daughter of the then Senator Paul Laxalt, and the late former Senator Pete Domenici of New Mexico. His name always kind of trips me over. So they had this one-night stand, right? And let's look it up. That's what I gather from it. Let's see, Adam. And let's see, his Michelle. Michelle was his mother. Michelle Laxalt. So she was working in Washington. I think she was an aide or something then back in the late 70s, and she had this affair with old Pete, who was like 20-some years her senior, and already had 8 kids. You'd think a man like that would go out and get a vasectomy. I know he was Catholic and all that, but, you know, still. But they had this brief liaison, and Adam was the result of it. But it all came out around 2013. And they both sides admitted that this was true. And they'd kept it under wraps. Because if they hadn't kept it under wraps, old Pete would not have had a career. It would have ruined his career. So Adam did eventually get elected. And he was the 33rd Nevada Attorney General. And now he wants to run for the U.S. Senate. And so people thought, well, he's got a real shot of being elected and defeating Catherine Cortez Masto, but I don't think he's going to win. I don't really think he's going to win. But I thought, well, I'll put that as an aside about Laxalt. Paul Laxalt was a real low-key governor of Nevada. I think he was in there 1 term. And then he was a low-key senator, a conservative, and I think Ronald Reagan's best friend, but he was senator for a long time, and then he stepped down from the job. And oh gosh, who got his job? I think Harry Reid did. I think Harry Reid. So anyway, that's all that history. Let's find it out. If I'm going to make a damn statement, okay, Paul Laxalt. Okay. And U.S. Senator from, Harry Reid inherited that seat. And then he was in there for years and years, retired, then he passed away recently. Okay, but anyway, that is going to be it. I am done.